So you might have heard this in another video that I've made, but I'm going to tell you again because it's so goddamn important. If you want to overcome your quarter life crisis, you have to know this. If you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want, then you're nobody. You're not an adult. You're still a child. And here are the signs that you don't know who you are that you want to look for.
I think we all have to go in there and just trust to it.
One clear sign is persistent loneliness. Do you feel lonely a lot? Do you feel disconnected from the world? Do you feel like you have certain acquaintances in your life, but you don't really have true friends, close friends? That's a clear sign, because if you really knew who you were and you knew what you wanted, then you would be able to connect with those people on a deeper level. You would seek out those relationships. You would seek out those friends, and in an authentic way, authentic and vulnerable way, because you know who you are, you know what you want. So then you actively look for those qualities in other people. So for example, let's say you know yourself as a creative, artistic person, kind of like me. So I seek out other people that are creative and artistic too. Or I seek out other people into psychology and personal development. I seek out people who, want to live in the moment, like be playful, like have fun as well. I know like the types of people I'm looking for, therefore I'm much less likely to be lonely because of that. And really, if you look at the deeper level, like if you don't know who you are, right? Well, how can you love yourself? Because there's no self to be loved. You don't know who that self is. If you don't know who you are, then how can you love yourself? You don't know who you are, you don't know what you're looking for, and you're meeting a random person, right? Well, of course you're not gonna connect. Of course you're gonna feel like this disconnect. Another clear sign that you don't know who you are is really an overall lack of fulfillment, right? That is very easy to spot, very clear to spot. Basically, when you wake up in the morning, you don't feel fulfilled. You don't feel inspired to do anything. You don't feel motivated to do anything. You don't really feel anything, right? Maybe you feel numb, and it's just the same old thing every day that you wake up. It's like the average day at work, the average day at school. Because if you knew what you wanted, you would take a clearly defined path towards doing something that would be fulfilling to you, right? Align with who you are. And the third thing is it's pretty clear, is like if you're jumping jobs, if you're jumping careers, if you're jumping degrees, if you're basically jumping everywhere and you're very indecisive about what you want, this is a clear sign that you don't know who you are. So what is to know who you are? What is it? To know who you are is basically, you know who you are, you know what you stand for, you know what you value, you know what you like, you know what you dislike in life, you know your friends, you know who your true friends are, you know what your real passions are, you know what you believe to be true, what you believe to not be true. You know what your own truth is. You have your own philosophy on life. You have your own sense of mission, contribution. All right, so if you recognize yourself in any of the signs that I told you right now, you want to pay attention to the remaining of this video, because I'm going to talk to you about kind of the psychological theory behind identities. And I'm going to take the research from James Marcia, who is a researcher who expanded on the research of Erik Erikson, who talked about identity development, from childhood all the way until death, basically. When someone is having an identity crisis, which is basically, if you don't know who you are, it's basically an identity crisis. There are 4 statuses of identity crises. Here's what they are. Number 1, identity foreclosure, which is basically you just assume whatever identity you're given. Number 2, you have identity diffusion, which is really the worst, which is basically, you don't care who you are, and you just go about your life not caring about who you are. So that's number 2. Number 3, you have identity moratorium, they call, which is basically when you go about trying to seek out your identity. You have no idea what it is, but you just jump around indecisively in hopes that you find something. And number 4, you have identity achievement, which is when you find your true identity. Let's start with the first status that I told you, which is identity foreclosure. Okay, so identity foreclosure, what is it? Well, basically you assume whatever identity you're given. So identity foreclosure basically entails a high-level commitment with a low-level search. What does that mean? It means you haven't searched really much, right? That's what I mean for low-level search. You haven't searched for who you are. You haven't gone on a quest, like a hero's journey, like a Joseph Campbell likes to call it. Your parents threw you a sort of identity already, you know, in childhood. Society threw you more ideas of who you could be. Oh, you could become, you know, like a good student, and you could become possibly a dentist or a dental hygienist. You could become an engineer. Like they're throwing stuff at you. Okay, basically this is what identity foreclosure is. You know, let's say you're a guy, and then the first girl who says, hey, I think you're kind of cute. Do you want to marry me? And you're like, okay, sure, let's get married. You haven't even asked her like whether she'd be the ideal companion. It's just, okay, well, she was the girl that was there right now, so you know what, fuck it. She's gonna become my girlfriend. That's basically what it is. So this is what it is. But would you do that with your life partner? No, you wouldn't. But so many people do that with their careers, with their jobs, with their lives, and it's just ruining them. So basically what it is committing too early. You haven't explored enough before you commit to an identity. You know, it's like those arranged marriages when you're like 9 years old or 12 years old. It's like you're way too young to know who you are and what you want to get married right now. You're way too young to really get started in the dating market. You're way too inexperienced to commit. You haven't tried anything yet, and you're already committing. Doesn't make any sense, you know? Honestly, to be honest with you, I think about 90% of people are in the identity foreclosure state. Those types of people, to be really honest with you, like, I mean, there's not much I can do with you right now. Like, there's not much you can do. You have to want to change yourself. Like, no one can change for you. Like, if someone from the external world, like, were to tell you the truth, you'd probably be so resistant to it because you bought into that identity that wasn't even you years ago, and you've just, you know, gone through life trying to like live up to that identity. You have to want to change yourself. You have to realize the truth yourself, or you have someone to slap you in the face and tell you the truth. Number 2, identity diffusion. This is the worst of all the stages because it is no commitment, no search. You know, at least identity foreclosure, you had high commitment and low search. So, I mean, you kind of searched, like maybe you didn't search, but I mean, at least you committed to something. Identity diffusion, you don't have any identity. There's no commitment to anything. There's no search to anything. So it's basically, you don't feel like you need to find who you are either. So those types may or may not had an identity crisis. They might even look fine on the surface. They're like, oh yeah, you know, just go about my life, whatever. And they don't care about what they want. They don't care about what they like or dislike. Those people, they're probably those who were like the most repressed, either by their parents or society. They're really so repressed that they're completely discouraged of finding who they are completely. At least if you commit to something wrong, at least you can learn from your mistakes, you know, on that path. And then you can change course later. You know, you can do a comeback at 45 years old, even if you're on a midlife crisis and you realize your job is shit. At least when you commit to something, then you can realize your mistake and move. But if you haven't even committed at all, you haven't even gone on any journey at all, any career at all, then, I mean, what hope is there for you? And the harsh truth, if you're in identity diffusion right now, then you're like the most hopeless of all cases. Like, if that's you, because that means you don't even want to help yourself. You don't even want to help yourself, and you don't even want to change. You don't care about change. Maybe you stumbled upon that video because you're bored, but truthfully, you don't really want to know what your identity is. Here are the signs that you're going through identity diffusion. You wake up every day feeling like absolutely nothing, absolutely not feeling sad or happy. You're just feeling like you don't give a shit. You're completely numb. Whatever you do is just completely numb. And you have no structure to your day, basically. Like no structure, no plan. You don't create your day. Your day happens to you, basically. So you wait for the day to happen to you. You wait for, like, I guess, other like things to happen to you, like, oh shit, I have to go to the groceries, I forgot. Oh shit, I have to go to work. And you're kind of like in reaction mode, and you're not creating anything. You're not really creating your own rhythm. Life is happening to you. It's not you who is creating your life, who is happening to life. And also, you're incredibly indecisive about anything. You can't create a decision. You can't have a decision about anything. You don't really want to take any decisions. You don't want to take decisions. You want people to take decisions for you. Now, the third stage is called identity moratorium. This is the active stage, really. So it's not as bad as the other ones. Actually, if you're in that stage, this is like the best moment for me to help you. This is the best moment to really like explore, you know, who you could be. This stage is basically zero commitment and high level search. So you can't commit to anything. Like, you're open-minded to things, but you see there's so many opportunities and you want to try them all, and you cannot commit because really you don't know who you are. So I mean, how can you commit? If you don't know who you are, then you don't know what's best for you in the long term. So then there's no way you can commit. It's like impossible for you to commit. So this is the stage that creates the most anxiety and is the most volatile stage. That could be the longest stage, because really you're just jumping from things to things, and because you're so unsure about what you want and your inability to commit to one thing, this creates a lot of anxiety, and you're always worried whether you did the right decision or not. So I guess you're still indecisive in a way, but at least you try things, You kind of decide, but it's like kind of half-heartedly, because you always want to keep your doors open. So if we go back to the relationship analogy, that would be the player who just basically, he wants a girlfriend, right? He wants to get married, have kids, whatever, but he just cannot commit to any girl. So he just rather like try to date as many girls as he can, and basically, because he's so insecure about what he wants, he might actually be like extremely popular, extremely good looking, have a lot of girls in his life, but he just cannot commit to his life. Yeah, maybe this guy is happy because he's trying a lot of stuff, but deep down it's like there's this weird void inside of that person because they just cannot commit to anything, So here are some clear signs. So for example, if you do crazy stupid shit and just to get distracted, maybe you party hard, or maybe you, I don't know, like maybe you I don't know, you go on travels a lot and you go on vacations a lot, but you don't actually do anything with any of that. You don't learn anything from your experiences. Maybe you jump from career to career a lot, from job to job, degree to degree. That's also another clear sign. Now the fourth one is identity achievement, which is what I want you to have, which is pretty simple. It's pretty simple. You know who you are, you know exactly what you want, you know what you like, you know what you dislike, you know what you expect, you know what kind of relationships you want, you know what kind of friendships you want, you know what you want in a friendship, you know what you want in, let's say, a business deal, you know what you want. Basically, you know exactly what you want. You have a clear blueprint for your life. You know what you value, you have your top 5 to 10 values, like, oh, I really value the truth, I value love, and I value freedom. Whatever your values are, you know clearly what those values are. All right, and you can live up to those values, and also you have a clear future ahead. You know where you're headed, you know what your future is. The future could always change, but at least you have a clear roadmap as to how to get there, and that's what it is. Which status are you at? Let me know in the comments down below. Maybe you don't even know where you're at because you're a mix of everything. I'd be curious to know. But if you're really ready, like, it doesn't matter what stage you're at, okay? It doesn't matter if you feel that you're ready to change your life for the better, to overcome your quarter-life crisis, identity crisis, whatever you're going through right now. I want you to apply for a free consultation call with me, where we'll diagnose your current situation, see where all the roadblocks are, and see what you can do in order to find your life purpose. So if that's something that interests you, click on the link below and apply for a free consultation call, and I'll try to put a link there as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.